So, welcome to your Fulham Fix, the fortnightly show about all things Fulham for you guys, the fans. And joining us today, Mr. Sean Davis. Sean, how are you, sir?
I'm very good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, very good, thank you, mate. Also joining us, one of the finest strikers to wear the Fulham shirt, ladies and gents, the one and only Louis Saha. Louis, how are you?
Very good, thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us. When was the last time you two saw each other? You were just having a little pop at Sean's grey hairs.
Yeah, he was winding me up.
Yeah, 1 year or two ago, no?
Yeah, I think so. We played in a charity game ages ago for the PFA.
Yeah, ages ago. But I think we crossed ways for a game for Canoe, I think. You were there, no?
No, I didn't go to that. Did I go to that one? I can't remember. Old age, Louis.
Mate, the grey hairs and the memories going as well.
Yeah.
That's what will happen. Now, usually we would start with our big three talking points, but we're going to do things a little bit differently as we've got yourselves together. And obviously, Louis, we want to touch on your incredible career here at Fulham, beyond Fulham, and also we've got tons of fan questions for you. But just before we get to that, we're going to touch briefly on the last couple of games. Louis, firstly, do you manage to keep up to date with Fulham games?
No, not really. I'm super busy. So to be honest, I've been watching Champions League football much more because I'm kind of pundit back in France. But no excuses. I should be more watching the game.
Well, no, honestly, we don't blame you if you're a busy guy. So what I'll do, we'll just touch on this quickly with yourself. Sean, first up, West Brom, our first win of the season, a very, very convincing win as well. How important was it to get that victory?
Yeah, massively, especially at home. Like I said before, you have to win your home games to stand a chance for survival, at least in the Premier League. So we got off to a good start. We were saying it the last couple of weeks that we always seem to be, chasing the game, but we managed to start the game well on the front foot. The intensity was high. And the goals were the rewards, and the main, probably most pleasing thing for Scotty would have been a clean sheet.
Absolutely. I mean, we seem to really have turned our defensive frailties around now, and we're doing very, very well there. West Ham, sadly, a different result, but still a vast improvement performance-wise. Again, defensively, a vast improvement. Very unlucky, again, Sean, not to take anything away from that game.
Yeah, good away performance in regards to being hard to beat, making tackles, blocking tackles. We created a few chances. Obviously, disappointment not to go away with anything from the game when you defend so well. But in this league, when you get a chance, you need to take it. And unfortunately, we had the opportunity to get the chance, and for whatever reasons, we didn't take it.
So we'll touch briefly, but won't focus on it too much. But the penalty, Louis, you've obviously taken many penalties in your career. How brave have you got to be to step up? And in this case, it was the 97th minute, but to step up right at the end of a game in extra time and take that penalty. How brave have you got to be, Louis?
It depends on your set of mind. Just to remind you, it's a great opportunity to score goals. And when I look at Sean, you have to be confident. It's more about an opportunity to score than just being brave. So you're not going to war or anything like this, So just enjoy the opportunity to score a goal. This is how I approach all the time these things. Obviously, there is penalty who are more important than others. And then I think this one, the last few minutes of the game, when you feel like you can get a point for your side who is struggling. I think it's more about let's say some criteria would say now I'm a bit more under pressure for my teammates, because they have worked so hard, so I can't just take it as an individual, I'm alone. So this is a critiques, because yes, you have to feel like it's very important and really if you miss this one, regardless, you can miss a penalty, but in some style, you can't do that. Really, you can't do that.
And Sean Lookman, obviously a very young player, brilliant talent, and he's been absolutely fantastic for Fulham. He's come out and he's apologised after the game. Do you see this getting to him at all, or can he just move on from this?
He has to move on. He's apologised. He's a young lad. I still think as a striker, put your foot through it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Just put your foot through it. Be calm, pick a side. Don't be too fancy. But this might even make him more hungry to prove a point and try and provide us with some magic and some goals so we can easily forget that.
Yeah, that's an opportunity.
I want to know which foot Louis would have taken it with, left or right.
When I felt like, as I said, when you are confident, and you try things and you train hard and all that, I think especially the hardest thing is when you have the talent, and I think he's got the talent, and sometimes you mentioned you fancy too much, you try too much, you try hard to prove a point or something like this, and I definitely think that it's an opportunity for him to really like bounce back even more and prove even more people how worth he is.
Absolutely, and I'm sure he will. What a talented young player. Right, Louis, let's talk more about you and your career. You started out, obviously, you trained at the prestigious Clairefontaine Academy, which had some. I mean, they have some amazing players come from there. Henri, Anelka, Gallas, just to name just a few there. What are your memories of that time?
Yes, tremendous opportunity. Again, I was like a kid where I was like a real competitor. So I wanted to play against the best, and I thought that it was amazing opportunity because I heard names like Thierry Henry was there, and I heard like the best one from Paris will be around. So obviously I knew that I will improve a lot. So it was a great opportunity to challenge every day with the best one around, and find out that it was the structure of the national team. So really, like, it was a wake-up call, saying, oh, hang on a minute, people are professional there. And I just realized how much I love this environment. And so it was great. Obviously, it was hard because I was young, and I felt like I left my family behind, my friends. For 3 years, I had to kind of sacrifice everything I loved in some way to fulfill my potential and see how far I can go. So it was a great moment. But yes, from 15, maybe 16, I was starting to realize that I have to sacrifice something. So it was not super easy. We lived for 3 years in the forest. So not many stuff to do, not many girls to see, not many friends to hang out with. So all those things were a choice. But I really learned fast how to be kind of, let's say, professional or just a man.
I guess at the age of 16, really, the big distraction is mates and girls, really, isn't it? Let's be honest.
I think it's part of our development. But yes, let's say that the banter that you have in your own and having like this proximity with your brothers, sisters, my family is really important to me, and all that was left behind for a week or more. So it was tough, starting to have friends are giving names at trees. It's not funny, really not.
And do you remember the moment you actually got discovered? Was there a point for you at the academy where it all sort of changed?
Discovered before? Or
yeah, no. Whilst at the academy, before sort of turning pro as a youth player, was there a moment where you were, someone pointed at you and went, "Him, we want him. He's the one." Because obviously, with academies, a number of the players don't make it. They don't step into the professional world.
Yeah, I was lucky enough to be, like, let's say, tagged one of the few favorites of promotion, let's say. So from the moment you arrive there, you're starting to play, like a forward position. Let's say you start scoring goals. Obviously, it makes sense that you have some kind of ability, but it's more about the mentality. So from some point where some players may find it tough to speak to people and to speak their mind, and I felt like I had that confidence in me, so I was not really afraid. So when someone may say, "Oh yes, you have the ability and all that," I just didn't take it for granted. I always wanted to work and all that. So I really didn't think about that until I really kind of like be in the national team for France and started to understand that from 16 I was like with the best players in France, you know. So I started to understand that I really got something here.
Let's talk about your move from Metz to Fulham. Now, obviously, you'd had a taste of English football before at Newcastle. So did that make it an easy decision, having that initial sort of go at English football, as it were?
He actually made the decision. So basically, when I arrived to Newcastle, after maybe, let's say, a week, I was like convinced that my football should be there for life, because I felt like I was free. I was me. I was smiley. I was like some banter, even if I wasn't speaking really clearly good English. Yes. So the first, I think, big factor was Alan Shearer. Basically, he was the captain of the side, captain of England, most respected player, best goal scorer, and all that. And he was like a simple guy, really like make things simple for anyone to adapt. And I felt like everyone wanted to play forward. It was like the football game that I wanted to play. And so yes, it was a well introduction to the mentality that we all love when you watch Premier League footballs.
And did trailblazers like Henry, Anelka, even Cantona, those French players coming over here to the English leagues and really making an impact, was that an inspiration as well for you to come over?
Yes, but I do think that everyone is a bit different. You can see that some French players come in and they're struggling. It depends on your style, you know, really. I felt like, you know, I always like felt like the intensity, the actual directness, sometimes the actual technical ability you can see, it was made for me. So I really felt like in song. And when you look at all those players like Cantona and Ginola and all those players, even Nicolas Anelka, Thierry Henry arrived at the same time as me, we just felt like the overall offering of the Premier League was made for us. I've seen like very quickly Robert Pires arrive with a different style, but he enjoyed the intensity, the authenticity of the game. So it's like, yes, you speak to all my friends that played in France before and joined in England, they don't want to come back.
Yeah. So it was also a bit of I suppose from where you were before, you were stepping down a league as well. So was that a tough decision to make when you moved to Fulham, knowing that you weren't playing at the top level?
Yes, like tough. Let's say that it's something that you, like, I don't know how you say this, but you navigate your option. And somewhere I wanted to really change my position. I wanted to play striker. And I felt like Tigana just like proposed me like a really good project. Well, it felt like it was like getting me some keys to do that. So I felt like even if I had the choices to go to, you know, let's say League One, a good side, I didn't feel like I was like ready because the mentality and all the thing was not in place for me. I was like really upset about the mentality. Really, I was like very close to stop football. So I'm so down to human people, you know, how you act and all that.
Sure.
I was not at all having it. So it was a good setup for me to have someone, let's say, that understood what I was like looking for.
And Tigana was your man for that?
Yeah.
Fantastic. I mean, you could also, I guess you could see what he was doing as well and what he was trying to build. So that must have come across at the time, surely.
Yeah, because, you know, I knew the Premier League, and obviously his style was like to play on the floor, to have like some flair players who were able to do that in the midfield, like Sean, like John Collins, or so a few players were remarkable at that, you know, get that kind of confidence that you need to actually give the pass to a striker. If you have like some like very like easy, you know, a player to be easily pressed and give the ball away, It put really, some really good players together to actually play football we wanted, and it suited me really well, and had like the bass quality was like it was more someone who could like be the target man in some way, because he was so good behind the goal and very strong inside the box, where I was like a bit more outside the box, like doing my stuff outside. Shoni and John and all those players in midfield were just like amazing, and we have like speed, we have like strength at the back. Everything was in order to have a, let's say, not easy season, but something close to it.
Yeah, and obviously absolutely smashed it out of the park. It must have still been weird though, to go from the top French league and you know, playing sides like, you know, PSG and Lyon and stuff like that, to then Grimsby, Tranmere. You know, was that? I mean, that must have been a slight shock to the system.
Not really, because I was like looking for competition. I'm a competitor, so I say I want to win games, I want to enjoy, I want to score goals, and I was not enjoying my football. That's reality, and I wanted to improve. So my aim as a professional was to improve, and I didn't feel like, as I said before, like all the things were there for me, because I knew that I was not a winger. I would have struggled as a winger. I had no the stamina of Sean. You know, Sean can run all day, and I was struggling. So all this was like, yes, I needed to have like a manager who really believed in me, that I was able to play as a forward or striker.
Fantastic. Let's talk about the Premier League now. Our first season ever in the Premier League. So many fantastic memories for so many Fulham fans. We'll talk about the first game, obviously, Man United. Your goal against Man United specifically. And Sean, weren't you the assist?
Yes.
No, not for the second goal. The first goal was, but I felt the second goal was the better goal.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, for Louis, the second goal just showed everything he had, pace, power, and then right at that final moment, he perfect finish. So, but yeah, I did assist the first goal, if you want to ask me that question.
Yeah, that was what went through. Sean, mate, what went through your mind when you pinged that ball over the top?
No, do you know what? To be honest, Louis was so quick, and I had to understand him. As soon as he comes short, he's spinning him behind. So literally, as soon as he comes short, I just bang, put it over, and hope for the best. And lucky for me, he brought it down first time and finished it off. But it's all about the movement, because he could do that movement all the time. If I don't see that movement, I don't play it. As soon as he does that movement, he's in. And that if I don't pass it, then he can tell me off.
Did you find it daunting, the pair of you, knowing that Man United was the first experience of Premier League football for Fulham? Were you guys at all nervous going into that game, or were you just like chomping at the bit?
No, I think myself, I was very excited. Again, I see all my life I have like opportunities. Even if I fail, it's an opportunity to learn. So there is like the best platform, let's say, to learn, because you're playing against the best one. You don't have to have any fear, because again, you're not going to war or something. You just have the opportunity to enjoy the most beautiful stadium in England football. So I was like really excited. Obviously, I didn't want to be humiliated. This is what goes in the mind of any player. We want to have like a good go at it and make sure that we upset them. They are good footballers, but we had qualities on our side, and I felt like, as like Baz said, we have the quality to hurt anyone. You know, it was just a matter of like getting that right balance. Attacking, defending is always the nature of the game, you know. But yes, when you have like those players behind you, you know, like with their mentality to sacrifice themselves, and you know that you have a good chance.
And when Man United came calling for you, was it a no-brainer for you at the time? You know, was that at that point? I mean, you turned so many heads. It's obviously tough for a newly promoted team to hold on to, you know, their best players. And, you know, so I suppose we were half expecting it. But for you, was there any doubt that you were going to go?
Yes, you have doubts, and see that any player has the chance, you know, that any sportsman or athletes who have the chance to play their passion and the game, want to improve and want to have the best opportunity. And I knew that I've got only 10 to 15 years for that. So, you know, when you have the chance on the table and saying that you're going to play for a team who compete in the Champions League, and of course you think about it, and it's become a no-brainer when you have the actual manager saying their project, what they want, what they think about you, who you're going to play with, and how, and all those things, and say, okay, I'm part of that thing. You know, it's not just like being on a bench, because as I said, I want to improve, and being on a bench is not really my thing. So all those things, you know, when you have like such a manager who's calling you, is even more than just having like an opportunity or a name. You know, I was a fan, and I was like really looking forward to play. But on the same time, the decisive thing was him to call and say that he really liked my style. So I really thought that I should fight for it. And even if I do appreciate everything that Fulham has provided me, because I wouldn't have been the player that I was if like I didn't have those 3 years. So I knew that you know, as like you could be a really, you know, good player and have like a bad season, and Fulham supporters will have forget me and say, you know what, we don't want you anymore. So just like, you know, to be honest, I heard the voices, but I don't take really like really importance, because I know how it is, you know, that it's fair that you can complain, and of course it's a club, but the reality is this, you know, if I don't play well, they transfer me to League One, you know, so.
Sean, how did you feel when Saha left?
Obviously, a bit selfishly, obviously disappointed, because we were losing our best player, but it's such a no-brainer when Man United come calling. Louis was good enough to play for any top player in Europe, so it was a no-brainer for Louis. Obviously, he enjoyed his time at Fulham. I wish he didn't score past us the first game back at Loftus Road, but no, I was happy. I was happy for him, because, like I say, he deserved to be at the top level. He deserved to be fighting for the Champions League and the Premier League. So we just enjoyed our time we had with him while he was there.
Yeah, you mentioned the scoring against us. I think you did it a few times, Louis, when you came back. But that I think it was only about a month later you came back, scored against us, and stuck a dagger in the heart of every Fulham fan. I'm joking, obviously.
I think Zach Knight's still chasing him now.
I mean, it was an incredible goal, just unbelievable. Was it weird though, scoring against Fulham?
Yes, always, you know, because you really, as Sean mentioned, you know, appreciate every moment that I had, you know, really, not just, you know, lifting trophies or having like good games, like scoring goals. I'm saying it because I've really felt like we were a family, got good banter, like a session where like, I think like people were not doing as good, you know, people were challenging. So I had that great mentality to become a team that I felt like could win trophy. It was like so down to small details, really. I felt this. And then when you have this, like, you know, like experiences where someone saying that you have the chance to join a big club and you face the next month your teammates, so it's tough, because you realize how quick, you know, things goes, you know, and it was amazing feeling to actually wear the shirt, but at the same time I felt like it was a bit awkward, because I heard some voices of like boos and Judas and stuff like this. I was like you're still young, but you realize how much you care about those emotions as well. You know, I work hard for people to have that kind of reaction as well, you know, like being like really emotional and love their sport and going there with families and being part of the show, you know. So I'm fine with that, you know. I don't disrespect anyone. I just like do my stuff and have fun. I've got like great characters around me.
Let's touch briefly. I know we see how we're doing for time. We'll touch briefly on your autobiography as well, from 2012. Sean's got the title for us there. Sean, would you like to read out the title of Louis' autobiography, please, in your best accent?
Mate, why do you always stitch me up?
It wasn't my idea. It was probably, I promise you, it wasn't my idea.
My French is really bad. I only used to know the bad words in French, which Louis, Alain Gomar, Le Grinch, they all used to teach me the bad words. So
Bad words, yeah.
the bad words. Oh, see, I'm embarrassed now.
No, go on, man. I'll give it a go if you give it a go.
You go first, and then I think I might be able to help you out.
Okay, so I'll go first, then you go, and then Louis, you can tell us who got closest to the exact pronunciation.
Yeah.
Du côté au étoiles.
Du côté étoiles.
Oh my God.
I think you just copied me, Sean.
That was not even French.
See, I can say the bad words in French, but it might not be ready for the podcast.
Now this one is tough because it's French. It's really hard. But du quartier aux étoiles.
I mean, I think that's identical to what me and Sean just did.
Yeah. Come on, Louis, that was perfect.
Yeah. Tell us what that translates to.
Neighborhood to the stars. So basically, stars. Yeah.
I love that. That's a really lovely title. With regards to your autobiography, is it true that you were halfway through writing it and had to start again because of like it all got wiped or something? Is that right?
Sorry.
So is it true when you were writing your autobiography that you had to start again from the beginning about halfway through because of a technical issue?
Yeah. Yes, I lost. I don't know how many pages, but yes, my partner at the time dropped some coffee on the computer, but at the time I didn't save it straight away. So yes, it was a nightmare. Really, I left it for 6 months, but I was writing my book alone. So you have to imagine, I was like not writing it down with papers. I was like doing this on computer, and it was nightmare.
Is it the reason why they're no longer your partner? That was it. At that point, we're done. There's no coming back from that. Wow, that's a tough thing to start again. There's an extract in it where you talk about the fact you'd had an accident on a motorcycle, and but you hid the injury from the Fulham medical team. Is that right?
Yeah.
Talk us through that. Why you did it.
Basically, just like, you're young, you're erratic, you have like this instability in this industry where you get the fame, you get like minimal windows to actually express it, to have like the emotion going out. So I think we just like had this great game against United, and I ordered a motorcycle and I couldn't like ride it, like I'm not that good because this bike was like a very special bike, it's a super bike, and I drove it just like a day before the hours before the game, and actually like this is like absolutely not to replicate to any youngsters and all that. I just went and tried to enjoy myself just before a game, and because my dad was here like sleeping in my house, but he had to go just before the game. He had to come back to him. And so I just waited for him to go. I didn't want to say anything to him. And I just drove it, and he came back, and he caught me and all that. And then when he left, I just done a tour again, and I just done my accident there. But it was minimal, but the bike just landed on me and all that. So I had a few scratches. But I had the games like 3 or 4 hours later. So absolutely stupid, but the thing is like when you go to the medical, I knew that if I like say that I had like an accident on the car and all that with a motorbike, they will have like say bad things or insurance, whatever, and all that. So I didn't say anything. So I went to find if they can like do something on the hospital. So I went to the game like this, and actually had a good game.
Yeah, so Sunderland, it was a decent game. So you didn't feel like your injury had affected you at all?
Actually, I think it put me some kind of adrenaline, and I don't know it works well, but I didn't advise anyone to do that every game.
Sean, it looks like you want to say something, Sean.
No, listen, when you were injured at Fulham, it was horrible because they used to have a guy called Roger Propas. And you didn't want to be with Roger because he used to run around the training ground doing these things called fartleks where you like run slow, run medium, run quick for about 25 minutes. It was so hard. So I knew Louis didn't want to say he was injured because he didn't want to be with Roger for a month.
Right, you're right. It was my nightmare because imagine like Roger, like you were like the top one, you know, you can run, you know, but I was struggling. I was struggling. So imagine, no, I couldn't like even think about those things before, you know, going to like, let's say you have the holidays and then you have the preseason coming. I was making nightmares.
Yeah. Amazing. I love hearing this as a Fulham fan. I love hearing all these stories. It's brilliant. Louis, just tell us as well, briefly about Axis Stars as well. This sounds fascinating. This is something that you dedicate a lot of your time to now. Just tell the Fulham fans what Axis Stars is all about.
Yeah, basically like during my time as a football player, I realized that how hard it was to actually find the right people around you, get that trust that you need and get that, let's say, personal development so you can still learn like your stuff outside the football. So yes, it's good to be a footballer and train well and improve. But outside, you don't know much, you know, you don't being put in a position where you can really improve your skills and your knowledge and all those things. So what Axis Stars is doing is try to collect all the information, the relevant information, all the nice opportunities in one place where stars from sport and entertainers can actually get access to it very easily. So based on that, they have some rating system that help them to pick the right things because other stars has like approved or acknowledged the good services. So it's really about like getting the right partners who can help. It could be agent, could be lawyers, it could be wealth managers, but it could be coach, nutritionist, or whatever that a player needs to actually like get better advice or understanding if he likes to create a foundation because he's got a charity. We can help find the right people to advise. So we are not like agent or lawyers. We are just a platform to help those guys to identify the right people to talk to. So it's really something I dedicate myself because I think it's not done by like the unions because they have like a different kind of model. It's not done by agent because they have like as well, they have let's say a business to run. So sometimes there is a little bit of conflict. So we try to balance everything to make sure that even like the unions, even the actual agent or lawyers have a platform when they can work properly. We set the standard and we put the stars in a bit more control position. So this is what I'm doing now.
Sounds great. Sounds really, really good and really important. I know especially recently, as Nicholas Bentner talked about lack of support he had sort of coming out of football. And I think it's sort of taken for granted that everyone can just handle themselves when, you know. Yes,
that's what like every advisors would say to you, you know, focus on your football and that's it. So we take care about the rest. And this is very dangerous. So we think that during the career, there is like a platforms we need to be in a certain way to allow you when you can, when you want to do it. When you want to inform yourself, let's find a place because you can't inform yourself on the internet or on anywhere because it's too much information. So we have to create this to make sure that those guys, young or retired, can actually get easy access to it. And this is a big job. So it took me quite a long time to do it.
Brilliant. Sounds very good. Very important. Right, we're going to end now. We're a little bit of time left. Got tons of fan questions, so we'll try and rattle through as many of these as possible. Are you happy, Louis, if I ask you some fan questions?
Yeah, please.
Fantastic. All right, so we'll start off with @Charlie Feeble wants to know the first memory that comes to mind when someone mentions Fulham.
Yes, it will have to be. I would say the first trophy that we had. I think, yeah, that that year, I would say. This is the experience of like the first game to the last where we won this promotion. Yes, this is my memory. Yeah.
At Laura Rads wants to know what's the best and worst player that you've played against. Start with the best, and we'll see how you feel about the worst.
So where in Fulham or?
Yeah, I think generally throughout your career, who's the best player that you've played against?
The best player I played against Cristiano Ronaldo. Yes, definitely.
What about worst? If you feel like you can answer worst, is there anyone out there that you hate that you just want to have a little pop at? He's having a think.
To be fair, no. I do think that all players at this level deserve to be there, and I would say that you may think that there is like some dirty players but I didn't come across them. So
no. What a professional answer.
Well,
hang on, Sean. Would you say though? Who's the worst player you've played against?
Michael Brown.
There we go. Straight away, no blinking. Michael Brown. There we are. At Mark Walker, which current Fulham player? I don't know how well you know the current team, but which current Fulham player would you like to play alongside? Sean, I'll ask you that as well. That's quite a good one.
Wow. At this present moment, I'd have to say the captain, really, Tom Kearney. Got a good left foot. Similar, not as obviously as, from my opinion, not as good as John Collins, but similar player, likes to play the ball, likes to keep it on the ground. So yeah, probably the captain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about Tom Kearney for you? A player like that?
Yeah, it's a decent player. I think that there is like those type of players, especially when they have a left foot, I really like. But yes, as a striker, I think he's very interesting figure. He's not maybe doing as good. Mitro is very interesting player. I really not say that is my style. I will not pick him in a way that sometimes I like very skillful and someone who can dribble past you. That's not maybe his strength, but I really like his consistency, what he provides, that security when he's in the box and all his turns. I really like. So it will be interesting. It reminds me a little bit of Baz.
Harry Double wants to know how much do you think injuries held you back?
Yeah, a lot. Yeah, I think. But I will think that what held me back, it's the lack of stamina.
Okay.
Because the lack of stamina make me get injuries, I will think. Because I was like always like.
Yeah, you needed a bit more time with Roger. Build that stamina up.
Actually, I think towards the end of my career, Roger's style was strong, I know that, but I think it's starting to become a bit more individualized. So it means that based on my shape, on the way I play, I should have doing like a lot more sprint and stuff like this, and more than just like trying to run like consecutively to improve the stamina. It was more about how much sprint you are able to do, because that was my game.
Christian Busani wants to know, who did you look up to in the squad when you played for Fulham?
I think you have to look up for yourself. I was like really like very demanding about myself. So I feel like in some way, I look at Boa for his energy. He was very professional and very, let's say, stable, very organized, and I need that in my game. And sometimes I look at Sean as well in some way, that youth, that authenticity, craziness, and talented figure that he was. So you have to actually pick up, everywhere I was like in a club or national team, this is what I wanted to do, because I wanted to improve. I was kind of obsessed about like looking at what the others doing, but not in a way that to be like them, but just to pick up their ideas.
S Fingers wants to know, do you realise how iconic the mini dreads hairdo and the Pizza Hut sponsored shirt combo now is to Fulham fans? Do you realise how iconic that is?
It is, yeah. It's a funny picture. Sean, what do you think about this?
Honestly, epic photo. With that in mind, keeping the Pizza Hut theme going, because you both played during the Pizza Hut sponsored Fulham era. I remember bumping into Steve Malbronk in a Pizza Hut in Epsom after a Europa game or an Intertoto game. I think it might have been an Intertoto game. I did wonder at the time, did you guys get free Pizza Hut during that time?
Yeah,
I think
did.
it was not free. It was not. It was like a big discount or something.
Strong. At the Brian King, who was your least favourite defender to play against? Louis.
Yes, I think I like to say that I don't want to appear arrogant, but I feel like I always felt very difficult to play against a pair of defenders. So one defender alone, I don't think that I will be like struggling in some way. It was more some very like Rio Ferdinand with Vidic, for example. I hate to play with them because I could be very strong. I had Vidic, and I could be like skillful, and you got the reading of Ferdinand. So I more look at who is against me in a way that if I go and do my runs and who like anticipate well, and I thought that Vidic and Rio was the toughest one. Very smart.
Let's see, we'll just do a few more. Let me go through some of my favourites. There's lots of questions about your penalty ability and the fact that you used to shoot with both your left and your right when taking a penalty. My dad mentioned this actually earlier when I said I was interviewing you. And he said in the first season, you always shot with your right and then suddenly changed and started taking your penalties with your left. Do you have a stronger foot?
I think it was the opposite.
Oh, the other way, so left and then changed to your right.
Yeah, because I'm right-footer, and I felt like for some reason when I was starting to play on the left as a winger, I was starting to obviously wanted to cross and try to be like unpredictable in my games, so I could go both ways. So I felt like my left become very natural, and when I starting to actually get very comfortable. I feel like, when I was like trying to pass the ball, I was more comfortable with the left. But when I was striking, I was trying to do a diagonal. Obviously, it would have been with my right. And what happened through the season, I think that I was starting to take quite a few penalty kicks with my left. So I was starting to, let's say, think that like goalkeepers starting to read me. So I was able to strike very strong with my right. So I was starting to do both like this. They couldn't really predict where I was kicking, because this is the most important, is to make sure that the goalkeeper doesn't know where you shoot.
Yeah, keep them guessing. That's great. Okay, a couple more, I reckon. Your favourite goal at your time at Fulham? That's from Peter K. O'Connor. A lot of people ask that question, actually. What was your favourite Fulham goal?
I think, I could pick two, because I really like the first one that Sean gave me at Old Trafford. It's very special. But I've got the one with Newcastle as well. A curl that was a good goal.